Hello guys and welcome back to my budget channel, where today I want to present you the deck that the deck and me we go way back. That's one of the first complete decks that I got when I got back into playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Because I felt the gimmick was so nice and what they did was like so cool that I actually wanted them. And now I have kind of figured out for myself how I want to play this deck. A lot of people would play pendulum decks going first, which I am using it actually to go second, since this card has a lot of one card combos but doesn't need the extra deck so much. So pendulum magicians are a lot better with putting up negates and this kind of thing. But this deck actually can OTK quite well. You can fit in hand traps quite well. And the whole price of the deck, like on my budget channel as always, is gonna be somewhere between like 14 80 bucks, depending on what side deck cards, what extra deck cards, and what hand traps you are going for. But the most expensive card in the main deck, Ash Blossom, if you cut this card, there's basically no card that costs more than $1. Maybe Effect Veiler, not sure what the price is of this card right now, but it shouldn't be expensive in any way. So picking up all those cards should be easy. Starting out with Evil Healer card that once was pretty good in the deck, now mediocre. It's mediocre. It helps OTKing, it helps recovering your Abyss scripts from the graveyard. That's about it. It's hard to summon since you need a scale 9. This makes the scale 9. This searches Wild Hope, but other than that, it's alrighty, but not necessarily great. Superstar, a card that literally is the superstar of the deck. When it's summoned, your opponent cannot activate spell trap and effects to that, so that can be quite nice. Also, you can search the Abyss script from your deck, so that has a lot of synergy. Plus, you set it, so there's a lot of synergy with cards like the Comic Relief in a sense, and it's a level 7 that can be helpful as well for certain first turn combos if you're not going second. Abyss Actor, Mellow Madonna, one of the bigger playmakers of the deck. One card combo to complete your scale. You can search, you can do a lot of things with that. If you get Mellow Madonna out as well, you're activating an Abyss script puts more pressure on board, helps facilitating the OTK as well. So all in all, a pretty good cards. Basically Clifford Scout of the deck. Sassy Rookie, protection, stall, float. This guy does it all, and technically you can pop cards that are level 4 or lower. This card gets destroyed, which doesn't happen all that often. But sometimes if you keep your opponent small, then that card can come in clutch. Abyss Actor Wild Hope is very good card in the deck as well. Helps you play in cards like Wavering Eyes. Before, nobody would play Wavering Eyes in Abyss Actor because there was no card you wanted to search with Wild Hope. Now there is a card they actually want to search. So if you use Wavering Eyes on Wild Hope and another card in your zone, if you want to cycle through your deck, you get 2 cards in return, fill up your extra deck. So if you ever go into like a Link monster like Electromite, basically the only one that actually helps you with that kind of stuff, then the positive thing about this, you already have 2 cards in your extra deck, so that is pretty neat. And you want to get into Mellow Madonna because Mellow Madonna can actually search another card, so you plus off of this by quite a lot. So that is actually a pretty neat combo. One Leading Lady. Leading Lady can help with certain things. There's like specific things, plus it bumps the monster card up, plus it's a level 4. So I felt like Leading Lady can come in clutch, even with a scale effect. It can be helpful for getting rid of some monsters. It's not super good, kind of goes a little bit with the gimmick of attack boosting and those kind of things. You can swap this out with the Funky Comedian if you want to, because Funky Comedian is a low scale as well, and the attack boosting effect can help you getting over like crazy strong boss monsters that you can only run over by battle. So Leading Lady is only partially helpful with this one. Curtain Raiser helps getting into Electromite, helps making rank 4s. Scale, if not that great, is an out to Naturia Beast if you normal summon it, because it has more attack. Don't never forget that one. And the Abyss Actor Comic Relief is basically the playmaker of the deck, but also not. If you happen to have double Comic Relief and an Abyss script in your set on your field, then you can plus super much, because this basically you swap the one Comic Relief to your opponent, the other one destroys itself, so it's in the extra deck, so you can actually get the effect off, and then destroy one of your Abyss scripts when it's swapped, and then either you draw a lot, or you search, or you special summon. So this card alone is very strong, but the effect by itself, being able to swap one of your weaker monsters out to your opponent for like a stronger monster, maybe yoink one of his negates if you only had one because you didn't let him build up more. So you'd have that for the next turn, helps you OTK if you don't swap himself, because he can't, don't get battle damage with this card, which can help you as well if you have this card on board. But so if you swap any other card out, maybe stuff like Wild Hope, then you get the pop as well, get the surge. Possibly Sassy Rookie. I think you'll get the float, but you have to kill it twice, so it's not super good. So it has weaknesses and strengths, but it is pretty neat in general. Like swapping monsters can never hurt too much, and since targeting removal in general, targeting isn't as hard to pull off anymore as it once was with all the boss monsters being around, that can actually help you pretty well messing up your opponent a little bit. Triple Ash Blossom, well, it's a good hand trap. You can play other kind of shenanigans with that. You can play Ghost, or you can play stuff that's in the side deck. There's a lot of things that you can actually do, but you want to kind of run Ash Blossom because it is the most useful, because it helps basically against every deck, because a deck without searching doesn't really exist these days anymore. Ghost Reaper is one of my choices for this format. It's surprising, it doesn't cost much, I checked it, and mainly most cards that you actually want to use with this don't cost much either. LP, non-expensive card, doesn't shut down Guard Dragon sadly, but it hurts them, and I feel like this is hurting nearly, like, it hurts as much as Effect Veiler, but it has more utility because you can hit multiple decks more, I feel like. So Ghost Reaper can be quite strong. Obviously there's matchups where against Subterra Guru Stun it's not going to do anything, or True Draco, but there's other stuff that doesn't do much against True Draco either, so you have to probably cite in some other kind of things against that. Nightmare Mermaid is a card. You could also go for the Link to Orcust. I think that would hurt them at least a little bit. Maybe even if you have the money, go for the Xyz monster, I guess, if you want to. But that's an option that would hurt them as well. Getting rid of Sunlight Wolf, even especially after now they got hit by the ban list, can be quite strong. You could put a Kagari in here as well if you're playing against Sky Strikers. Put Kagari in your side deck possibly, then that would be quite devastating for them as well. Maybe even the Shizuku or anything else, the Ice Gal or whatever you want, then they don't have that many plays whatsoever. So this card, I feel like in this format, actually will come in clutch with a deck that doesn't use the extra deck, and this deck barely uses the extra deck. You have restrictions on some cards that forbid you from basically summoning anything else about then Abyss Actors, and there are no Abyss Actor extra deck monsters, so that is pretty fine. If you play in a Pendulum mirror match, might as well Ghost Reaper the Electromite, because Pendulums are going to be a force to be reckoned with. Put in one CJ here if you have actually running against Cyber Dragons, but you can put any Cyber Dragon fusion in here as well. I don't really know what's the strong point about Cyber Dragons, but I felt like this card helps them quite a lot. Abyss Actor Extras, in your turn helps you make an Electromite, but only if you go in second, because you opponent has to control a monster for this being able to be special summoned, and once you search with this card, you can only summon Abyss Actor monster, so that can be a problematic thing. Effect Veiler, well, is a good card. Disrupts, what can you say? Double Abyss Script, Rise of the Abyss King, you could play it at 3, but I felt like if you draw into too many at the first turn, like in your starting hand, then that's mainly a brick. So I felt 2 was a good ratio for this time. Last time I ran a little bit more, I think 5, but now the 4 are fine. 1 Opening Ceremony, this card is only in here for the effect of popping it, since you can somewhat consistently pull this off with Comic Relief. Triple Wavering Eyes, you could play double and just put in another Abyss Actor monster if you feel like your Pendulum monster count isn't high enough. 1 Double Nothing, don't have to run it because you already, with the Abyss Scripts, run kind of a lot of bricks, but if this card comes up, you actually can do quite well with it. Oh, another card like Ghost Reaper helps, since you're already playing the Utopia double. If your opponent gets a double, then just Utopia with Ghost Reaper, and his whole combo runs into nothing basically. So that is always a neat thing to do. And Abyss Entertainment, basically it's recycling, and also when you pop it, you fill your monsters, your board with monsters, so that's pretty crazy. 1 target for Super Poly, since your extra deck really doesn't matter, so you can stuff it up with anything. Vortex Dragon for turn first place with the Absolute Dragon. Black Rose Dragon if you ever normal summon Ash Blossom and special summon Curtain Raiser, for example, then you have Black Rose Dragon. Yay! That's a neat combo. Tornado Dragon against back row heavy decks possibly. Exit Knight, just wiping the board can be helpful. Don't have to run it, but can be. Abyss Driller, first turn, rank 4 place. I think that's one of the better ones. In my opinion. Baguska you could put in for Exeter Knight if you want to. Utopia double, pretty easy OTK. Metaltron for the whole combo with Vortex Dragon basically. Electromite and Nightmare Phoenix. It's like, you can play them, you don't have to. Go in first, you want to play Electrum, go in second. You actually don't need to. You don't need to force yourself go into this combo, because this card doesn't add too much to the deck. It can pop off, but if you see your opponent has a negate and you can't bring it out, then just don't. That's why I only run the Chronograph Sorcerer combo in the extra deck. in a side deck, because you want to side it in if you're going first. But other than that, it's not worth it, to be fair. It's not worth it. I tried it. It's not helping you breaking the board that much. Artifact Lancia in the side deck for some certain decks. I think against Guard Dragons can be quite helpful. There's zombies. There's a lot of shenanigans that banish from the graveyard, which is quite strong. Time Gazer belongs to the engine. Here you can fill up this with any slot that you want. One Abyss Script, if you're actually playing against a deck where you have to pop a lot of cards, like continuous spell or trap cards, possibly maybe Weather Painters or something, then that's going to be your spell trap card removal, because the Twin Twister isn't that good in Pendulum decks. It's okay. You should possibly run it, but if you can OTK Red Reboot is better, question mark, I guess. If you can OTK, yes. If not, then maybe certain Twin Twisters, maybe put that in. And Super Poly against Thunder Dragons, you kind of need it at this point. That's why the Star Venom as well. You're not getting rid of Colossus any other way. You could play Sphere Mode, because you're not relying on your normal summon as much if you're not trying to go into Electrum. Because yeah, what does your normal summon matter? Problem with the Sphere Mode is that you cannot get rid of it that easily, because you can't attack it and you only have targeting removal basically. So this is not gonna happen. So maybe Lava Golem as well, if you want to go for the OTK with double or nothing, and your opponent only has one other monster on board that has more than 2000 attack. So Lava Golem burns them during their standby phase, can be quite neat as well, but it's gonna be quite hard to get to your rank 4 once you already used your normal summon. So there's those kind of things that you can do. I hope you enjoyed the deck profile. I think it is fairly competitive actually for Abyss Actors. I never thought I would say that, but you can actually steal some games from certain meta decks with this deck, and I really like it. The brick factor is somewhat there because, well, hand traps make everything kind of bricky, plus the Abyss scripts. You might want to put it even down to 3 the count, possibly, but I am too attached to them, so I can't do it. I don't want to see the field spell in any build. I really feel like the field spell has to be a dedicated build to this field spell of the Abyss Actors, because other than that, you need too many resources for it. That's the reason why I won't touch this card, because you have to have a card in your hand, you have to have like a Abyss Actor on field, you have to have a set card. It's very hard just for one negate that your opponent knows, sees, and can play around, and it's not too hard because it force negates the first monster effect. So I feel like, yeah, I feel like they might as well play Mystic Mine, because it does essentially the same thing, but a little bit better in my opinion. Well, I said it. Hope you enjoyed it. Leave it a like, subscribe to my channel if you're into budget deck profiles, and I hope you have a good day.